អង្គុយចុះអង្គជំនុំជម្រះប្រកាសបន្តកិច្ចដំណើរការនីតិវិធីសកម្មភាពហើយតទៅនេះផ្ដល់ខ្ញុំតំណាងសហប្រញ្ញារួមទាំងសហមិត្តវីនាំមុខតំណាងដើមបណ្ដឹងរដ្ឋនេះដែលនៅមានពេលវេលាសរុប40នាទីក្នុងការតាំងទំនួលដេញដោលចំពោះសាកសីរូបនេះ
Interpreter could not hear from the president.
មានបញ្ហាបកប្រែភាសាទៀតហើយមន្ត្រីរដ្ឋបាលតុលាការភាសាអង់គ្លេសអត់មានភាសាអង់គ្លេសណា
President, the court is now in session. The floor is given to the co-prosecutors to resume their questioning. And you still have 40 more minutes to put question to this witness. The time for co-lead lawyer and co-prosecutors, 40 minutes more.
Thank you, Mr. President. I believe we started at around 10 o'clock this morning. So I'm going to try to finish in 40 minutes together with the civil parties. Maybe it will be 50, however. We will see quite soon if I will be able to finish within the allotted time. Witness, this morning you told us that your chief at the Otrakun Pagoda was Hon, and that the district chief, Khan, was Hon's immediate superior. And when Hon took decisions within the security center at the Wat Otrakun, did he report to Khan? And also, did he receive orders from Khan?
Comme vous l'accompagnez.
Since you often went with him, accompanied him often, do you know what kind of relations there were between Khan and Hon?
Answer. I was not aware of that issue.
You said that the pagoda was 2 kilometers away about from the Kangmi district office, and because of this proximity, did Khan, the district chief, come to the pagoda to visit or to hold meetings?
Answer. I never saw him.
Earlier, you spoke about the fact that there were certain guards who were stationed at Wat Otrokun who bore swords or sabers. Was there also a group of militiamen with long swords at Pim Chikang commune?
Answer. I did not know about that issue. I was only aware of what's going on around within my location.
And you spoke about guards precisely at Wat Otrokun. Did the security guards belong to the district army, since you told us earlier that this security center depended on the Kangmia district, was part of the Kangmia district.
Answer. Only their colleagues could enter into that place. Other people were not allowed to go into that location.
Oui, en fait, je vous demande.
Well, in fact, I was asking you at which level did the guards depend on the Wat Trokun? Did it depend on the commune level? Did it depend on the district level?
Answer. I used to see that Khan was the district chief. Concerning those who were within Otakun Pagoda, I did not notice the presence of any security guards, but there were people working in that pagoda. No 2-3 levels of security at that place.
D'accord, je comprends.
Fine, I understand. And the people who were working at the pagoda, under Hon's leadership and under the leadership of his deputy Kun, did these people carry out arrests in the different communes of Kangmia?
Answer. I was in that location for a brief period of time. I only noticed that people were transported into that pagoda. I did not know whether these people were arrested by the security guards.
Now I would like to quote what you said at answer 18 of your WRI E319/19.3.93. It's dated 3 July 2014. And you said the following. Well, the question that was put to you is the following first. I quote, "Do you remember still the name of a few people of the Daobeng group, that is to say, the group of the long swords?" And you answered the following: "Yes, I remember a few people from that group. That is to say, Kung, Kuong, Mun, Moeun, and Hun, Hun. And these people hailed from Kangmie district, and they did not come from the southwest zone." End of quote, free translation. So, can you confirm that these three people, Kung, Hun, and Mun, were indeed people who were working within the Wat Otrakun Pagoda, within the security center, that is to say?
Answer. That is true. These people were tasked with taking care of the center, and peoples from somewhere else would be sent into that security center.
Et comment ça se passait quand
And what happened when people were sent to the security center? Who would take them to the security center? Were these people from the outside, militiamen who would escort them there? Or was it the people working at the pagoda who would go look for them outside?
Answer. Sometimes militiamen within the village and commune, together with the unit chiefs, were responsible for transport those people into the pagoda by ox cart. That is what I noticed. I would see a group of 2 or 3 people would be sent into that security center or what, but I did not know where these 2 or 3 people from.
les miliciens,
And the militiamen who would escort these 2 to 3 people, were they entitled or not to go inside the pagoda, or were they just bring the people who were arrested to the guards at the pagoda?
Answer: they were the one who brought in the security or the what, and they would hand over them at the the front compound of the pagoda.
You said that you accompanied Horn pretty much everywhere throughout Gangmia district because he would go check the places where soldiers were stationed. And when you accompanied him, did you ever have the opportunity of witnessing arrests of people, of villagers in the different communes within that district?
Answer: I never saw it. I did not know about the issue. Sometimes I would happen to see people within the Otokun pagoda, and I did not know how they were arrested and because of what they were arrested. Horn himself never went out to make the arrest. I never noticed such a happening.
bon, je voudrais
Well, then I would like to ask you to react to what is indicated in your WRI E319/19.3.93. It's question and answer 17. And the question that's put to you is the following. Did you ever see firsthand the arrest of prisoners or people in the village? And you answered, yes, I saw some arrests in the district. As I knew, Horn received the report from the commune about enemies to be arrested. So sometimes he himself went directly to cooperate with the security guards of the Longsword group and traveled to the commune to make arrests. But sometimes they used the trick to tell all the prisoners to come to the security office by themselves. End of quote. So in this excerpt, it appears that you said to the investigators that you saw yourself people being arrested. So can you confirm this?
Answer: I have never saw it. Usually, the senior people did not make the arrest by themselves, but I did not know whether the order was made by them. Perhaps these people went out to meet their superiors, but I was not aware and did not know about that issue.
alors,
Well, did you see when you were working with Hon at the Wat Otrakun Pagoda that Cham people were sent to the pagoda?
Answer, yes.
Còn thăm ở đó
Those who took the Cham people to the place were different group of us, and there were different people responsible for receiving those arrestees. There were security guards and the senior or supervisors, and whether there were any plans, I was not aware of such plans.
Donc quand vous avez vu ces Chams arriver, votre convoyé à la pagode, est-ce que vous étiez à l'intérieur de la pagode?
When you saw the Cham people arrive at the
đi chừng ngày cho nó
I was within the compound of the pagoda looking from afar. I had no responsibility other than walking together with the superior or my supervisor. And during the time I was quite young and I did not dare to walk around freely.
Interpreter apologizes, believed there was a sound problem, but there wasn't. So, you were with your superior. Can you tell us how this person who arrived at the pagoda was brought there? Did these people arrive on foot, or did these people arrive by ox cart, or did these people arrive by boat?
Answer. They mostly came by carts, ox carts.
Est-ce que vous avez
Did you ever hear about the fact that boats transporting Cham apparently arrived very close to the pagoda along the Mekong?
ba thóc
Answer, yes, I used to see it. I knew that they came by river. Perhaps they may have come by a river and on boards, and as I said, I saw them coming into the pagoda.
And the people who came by boat, were they part of a big group of people, or were they part of small groups?
President, please observe your microphone before you speak. Answer, sometimes there were many of them, but on some other occasion there were a few of them.
And when there were many of them, can you give us an idea of how many people were brought at the same time into the pagoda?
Est-ce que c'était
Was it several dozens, more or less?
Answer, if they came by boat, 50 people or 100 people at a time by boat.
parmi ces gens qui arrivaient?
And among these people who arrived at the pagoda, how did you learn that some of them were Cham? Earlier you saw that Cham were taken to the pagoda. So did you see that yourself, or did you learn about that from other people?
vậy
Answer. I heard people say that there was a plan to gather up Cham people, and I do not know whether it actually happened after that statement.
Were the Cham a majority or were the Cham a minority among the Wat Otrakun prisoners?
ភាគច្រើន
Answer. They were a majority.
ខ្មែរដូចតិចតួចដូច
There were not so many Khmer people, and perhaps at that time Cham people, other group of Cham people may have taken in at a later stage to satisfy the cooperative.
Est-ce que vous pourriez
Can you repeat your last answer because apparently the interpreter did not follow?
ជាចារ
Answer. Cham people would come by boat if there were many of them, and since Khmer people sometimes came in a small group, they would be transported by carts, ox carts. They were not brought together at a time.
When they arrived at the pagoda, did the guards check one way or the other that these people were indeed Cham? For example, would they ask them questions in order to try to understand where they came from, in order to listen to their accent? Or
Answer. I was not aware of that issue, as I said. I noticed people coming in, whether Cham people were asked initial questions. It was not fall. It did not fall within my responsibility. And when I had no assignment, I would stay in my location. As I said, people were brought into the pagoda, and I would notice these people in the morning after they were brought into the pagoda, and sometimes I slept at my location when I had no assignment to do.
Bien, concernant les
fine. Now, regarding the Khmer prisoners who were taken to the pagoda, what happened to those who were accused of committing serious offenses? Were they interrogated?
Answer. I saw they were questioned, and some days I heard that people were sent out to do the interrogation. The schools at that time were used for interrogation place. The school remained until today. As I said, when I was not assigned to do specific tasks, I would not go to perform that task. It was under others' responsibility who were assigned to do the job.
par opposition
Now, in contrast to the Khmer, were the Cham also interrogated at the Otrakun pagoda or not?
អត់ដែលឃើញ
Answer. No. President, please hold on, Mr. Witness. Cooper, you have the floor now.
Yes, I object to the question. It's a leading question by using the word in contrast. He's already asking the witness to confirm the contrast between the interrogation of the Cham and the Khmer. He should have just asked an open question, what happened in terms of interrogation of the Cham people. So I object to the leading nature of the question.
Je vais
Well, then I will remove the beginning of the sentence and I will ask the witness if the Cham, therefore, were also interrogated at Wat Otrakun.
Answer. They did not interrogate Cham people. Unless there was an issue with the arrestee, they would be interrogated. Sometimes it happened that one or two people went out to conduct the interrogation. I did not know at the time why made them go out to do the interrogation.
Xavier,
You answered quite clearly in answer 79 of your WRI E319/19.3.93. And the question that was put to you was the following: were the Cham prisoners interrogated after they arrived at the security center? And you answered no, they were not interrogated, but executed 3 to 4 days later. Free translation, end of quote. Do you know why the Otrakun guards did not take the trouble to interrogate the Cham, or in any case, in most cases, as you said?
ខ្ញុំអត់បានដឹង
Answer. I did not know the reason. My responsibility was that I was not tasked with asking such questions. President, you have the floor now. Defense counsel for Mr. Kieu Sampon.
Oui, merci, Monsieur le Président.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I'm coming in after the exchanges, but I object to the manner in which the question is being put by the co-prosecutor, because it is not possible for the question to be answered unless the co-prosecutor explains the question properly. It is logical and it's in line with the procedure using in this trial, because the witness said something different from what is in the record of interview. In that case, let me ask another question. In your record, you say the Cham were not interrogated. That is not very clear. Can you clarify that matter? Were the Cham interrogated by the guards at the Wat Otrakun Pagoda, or the group that was in charge of interrogations?
Answer. They were not interrogated.
est-ce que les Cham qui arrivaient à la pagode
Did the Cham who arrived at the pagoda were they all executed?
But
Answer, yes, it's true.
est-ce que vous savez à quel endroit ils étaient?
Do you know where they were executed? In relation to the entrance to the pagoda, was there a particular location where the Cham were executed? And was that place different from the place where Khmer were executed?
Actually, it was not different. They were executed, and then this morning we did not see those people who were sent to pagoda, because they were sent to be killed during the night times, And at the time I was too young. At the time I was very young. So I did not what time those people were killed. But this morning, during the morning, I did not see anyone, so they disappeared. And then, they were, killed not far away from the pagoda in Chamka, and then those land was used for, plantings, mango tree. It's about 100 meters, from pagoda to the place where the people were killed, based on my estimation.
Dans l'extrait que j'ai lu tout à l'heure,
In the extract I read a while ago, you stated, that is in the record of your interview, that they were not interrogated but that they were executed. Did it happen that Cham arriving at the pagoda were executed directly and not even imprisoned before they were being executed?
Actually, I did not know about that.
est-ce que vous avez assisté
Did you witness scenes of executions yourself at the pagoda or around the Otuakon pagoda?
Actually, answer, I saw sometimes the senior, assigned me, to take the water, but I was terrified. And I almost cried when I saw that situation. It was terrifying, and even my friend called me, cried, and called my name. At that time, I was very terrified. And it's, actually I was young and I was very gentle, so it was really terrifying for me as a young boy.
et combien de fois avez-vous vu
And how many times did you witness those scenes of executions? You said sometimes, which is not very clear. What did you mean when you said sometimes?
សាក់តែមកតឆ្លើយតបអញ្ជើញលោកមេធាវី
So, Mr. Gopes, yes, you are.
I haven't actually heard the witness say that he witnessed an execution. The question was asked and then he said it was terrifying, but he hasn't actually said today in court that he witnessed an execution. Unless I heard something different in the translation.
Peut-être pour compléter l'objection de mon confrère.
Let me buttress the objection of my colleague. In French, I heard that sometimes I was asked to go and fetch water. That is what I heard.
Oui.
I heard sometimes, yes, and were asked to go and fetch water. Let me put a question to you again, witness. Did you witness, even from a distance, scenes of executions around the Otuakon pagoda?
I was assigned, but I did not go to the spot or to that site. I just brought some water and then I came back, but it was really terrifying as I observed, because 100 people I saw, but immediately they disappear, and I did not know what happened to them.
Donc quand vous alliez chercher de l'eau,
When you went to fetch water, on your way to this pond or wherever you fetched water, could you see what was happening at the site of the execution from where you were on your way to fetch water? That is not very clear.
គាត់ថាទៅ
I did not see clearly. I was in the middle of that, and then I was asked to turn back to Please, Mr. Gupé, you have the floor.
I would really like to ask the chamber to implore this prosecutor to stop putting words in his mouth, execution sites or witnessing executions. He didn't say that. He says people came in and then they were gone. That was terrifying. I collected water. But he doesn't actually speak about execution sites nor about witnessing executions. So it is leading all along, all the way.
Mr. President, I don't think I'm leading the witness. I'm trying to have the witness clarify what he's saying, which is not very clear. For purposes of clarification, witness, I will read out to you what he told the co-investigating judges, investigators. At answer 35, still E319/19.3.19. This is what you stated. Yes, I saw killings 2 or 3 times, but not so often. The prisoners were sent to be killed in groups of about 10 people. Each prisoner's hands were tied to their back and their face was covered. And then the Khmer Rouge sent them to the front of the pagoda, which was about 200 meters away. There was an already dug pit. When they reached the pit, they beat the prisoners with a cart axle and dropped the bodies into that pit. The prisoners were men, women, and children. Before dying, the prisoners shouted for help. Initially, I heard that the Khmer Rouge had used megaphones to play a sound in order to cover up the prisoners' screams. But when I saw those killings, there was no megaphone because the number of people to be killed was small. End of quote. Does that refresh your memory as regards the fact that you witnessed scenes of executions? In that extract, you're talking of having seen and having witnessed scenes of executions.
So please, Counsel Gupé, you have the floor.
And I object to the very leading nature of this question. Anybody can observe that whatever answer he's going to give now is completely worthless because he has been completely led into all kinds of details of his own answer. So leading, but it's already the damage has been done already.
Monsieur le Président, j'essaie.
Mr. President, I'm trying to clarify the situation. I've only read out the statement of the witness himself. I haven't invented anything, and that is why I'm asking the witness to tell the chamber, as he told the co-investigating judges, investigators, that he witnessed scenes of executions. That is all.
President, so we deny the comments raised by Counsel of Mr. Nuon Chea. So the witness need to answer to the question as you remember the question, and then the international prosecutors can ask the question once again. So please kindly repeat the question.
Donc je vous ai lu.
I have read out to you a long excerpt of the record of your interview before the OCIJ investigators. You said in answer number 35 that you witnessed scenes of executions at the Wat Otuakon Pagoda, and then you described how those executions were carried out, and you concluded by saying that initially I heard that the Khmer Rouge had used megaphones, but this time they didn't use megaphones because the number of people to be killed was small. Does this refresh your memory regarding the allegation that you saw scenes of executions?
Answer. I did not see. As I mentioned earlier, during the morning, I did not see that those people. I did not know what happened. I just only brought the water to those people. Then I returned, and during the morning, it was quiet. It was assumed that those people were sent to be killed, not was sent to anywhere else.
Bon, dans l'extrait,
Very well. In the extract I've just read out, you give a lot of details. You said prisoners were executed in groups of about 10 people, that each prisoner's hands were tied to their back and their face was covered, and they were smitten with rods, and that there were men, women, and children. If you didn't see all that with your own eyes, did someone talk about it such that you were able to provide all these details?
Answer. So please, Councillor Coupe.
Objection will be overruled surely, but he's leading him again, putting on a platter the answer that maybe somebody told him. This prosecutor really should stop leading this witness. It's unbelievable.
Monsieur le Président, j'essaie juste de...
Mr. President, all I'm trying to do is to resolve a contradiction between the witness's statement before the co-investigating judges with all the details the witness provides and the witness's statement before this chamber. The question I put to the witness before was whether he had witnessed scenes of executions. Now, I am asking him whether he knows all these details because someone told him about it. If that is not the case, let the witness tell us so.
So the objection is overruled once again, and the chambers also needs to hear in order to match their record to testify, so that the chamber can use as a basis, for the cases as well as the answer for the testimony. So we can distinguish, we can identify what is the differences, and then we can also know whether it is acceptable in order to make the judgment on that case.
Donc la question, monsieur le témoin, était de savoir...
So my question to you, witness, was as follows. How did you obtain all these details you gave the co-investigating judges, investigators? Did you obtain those details from someone else during that period?
Answer. I know, based on, actually I was wondering where the people were sent. I asked other people, and then I asked where the people were sent, and then they told me that the people were sent to be killed. And in terms of how those people were killed, that was very scary to me.
Lorsque vous étiez à la pagode,
while you were at the Otuakon Pagoda, I know it is hard for you to make an assessment. I know you were working for Han for 5 to 6 months. How many people did you see enter the pagoda during that period? You said at times there were small groups and at times there were bigger groups of 50 to 100 people. Are you able to give us an estimate of the number of people who entered the pagoda during the period when you were stationed there?
Answer. I did not know about that because I was not doing the statistic. I did not know how many people. Actually, there was around 30,000 of the dead body. And then there's, kind of things to keep the ash, or like a chupa, So they put the dead people ash in that chupa.
Justement, et ce sera la dernière.
Precisely, and this will be my last line of questioning. Did you ever return to the vicinity of the pagoda after the 7th of January 1979, that is after the arrival of the Vietnamese, that is to the place where, from what you said, undoubtedly, there were pits. Did you see pits with your own eyes after January 1979, or you never returned to that location?
No, I have never returned to that location. There is no point for me to go there, and besides, I lived far away from the location. However, at present, it was no longer there. Here I refer to the site since it had been covered with earth, and it turned into a plantation.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Je crois
Thank you, Mr. President. I've come to the end of my examination of the witness. My colleague has no questions for the witness. Perhaps the civil parties have some questions for him, Mr. President.
President, I would like now to hand the floor to the lead co-lawyers for civil parties if you wish to put questions to the witness. Good afternoon, Mr. President, Your Honors, parties, and everyone in and around the courtroom. I only have 5 or 6 questions to put to the witness. Good afternoon, Mr. Witness. My name is Pech Ong. I am a national lead co-lawyer for civil parties. And I have my international counterpart, Mary Kiro, who is besides me. And I'd like to put supplementary questions to you, in addition to those questions that were asked to you by the co-prosecutor. You said that when you threw the water to them, you had a glance at the event. Can you be more specific? Answer. I saw people being tied up and walked away. They were blindfolded. Then they tied the wrists of their hands and they were put into a file and walked away. I myself returned after I witnessed that. Question. Those whom you saw were being tied up with their hands behind their back, how many of them did you see? President, witness, please observe the microphone. Witness. I did not know how many people actually tied those prisoners up. Question. My question is about those detainees. How many of them? Answer. No, there were not many of them. Question. Can you tell us the number then? Maybe an approximate number? President, witness, you are reminded to observe the microphone. Witness, I cannot tell you for sure the exact number of those detainees, since I did not see it clearly. Question. I am confused now. You said you saw them being tied up. It means their hands were tied up behind their back. How many of those who were being tied up that you saw? Can you tell us the number of those people who were being tied up? Answer. there were a few of those who tied them up and sent them away to be executed. Question, maybe you still don't get my question. I refer to those people who were tied up and then walked away. How many of them? Answer, there were between 2 to 3. Question. So there were only 2 or 3 victims who were tied up and sent away. Is that your answer? Answer, I don't understand your question. In fact, I saw about 10 of those who were sent to be executed, and I understood your question was about the number of those who tied them up. In fact, each time there were about 10 of them who were being tied up and led away. Question. So this means that you did not only witness this event once, it means that you witnessed several of these events, since you said at the time there were about 10 people who were being tied up. Am I correct? Answer, actually I witnessed only one time, when I was asked to get the water to them, to where they would let those people out. They were tied up in a file, and when after I witnessed that, I returned. Question. When they let those about 10 or so people out, did you witness any other detainees who were there and who were not yet sent out at that time? Answer. I did not know about that. As I said, next morning there was no one left. Question. You said that next morning there was no one left. And my question to you is that when did you witness, or when did you learn that people were brought into the main hall, and how many of them were detained in that main hall? Answer, I cannot tell you that. I only saw that the main hall was full of people, and of course I was not responsible for that area, so I could not tell you the exact number. However, I could say there were many people there. Question, you said that the main hall was full of people. How big was that hall? Maybe you can tell us the dimension of that main hall? Answer, it is difficult for me to tell you the dimension of that main hall. Question, let me put it this way. Was it a standard size for a main hall in a pagoda? Answer, yes, it is. It was a standard main hall. Question, regarding those people who were placed in the main hall, and you said that the main hall was full, were they Khmer people or were they Cham people? Answer, the majority of them were Cham people who were brought in by boats. As I said a while ago, people said there was a plan to exterminate all the Cham people. And I heard from survivors who told me about that after the fall of the regime. Question: I will ask you later about that alleged plan. And how did you know that the majority of those detainees were Acham people? Did you happen to speak to them so that you learned of their ethnicity? Or did they tell you that they were Cham? Can you be more specific? Answer: I did not ask them any question. However, I asked those people who work in the kitchen hall whether they were Khmer people or not. Of course, those people were detained in the hall and we could not peep through the window. They were brought in by boats and they were guarded. Thank you. Question: regarding those people who worked in the security center in that pagoda, and while you were there, can you tell us how many people working in that pagoda and what were their functions and role? Answer: I did not know the individual role of those workers. I know that Horn was overall in charge and he had his deputy whose name I cannot recall, or rather it was Kuong and Bot. But as I said a while ago, Bot was later on killed and replaced by Kuong. Question: you stated that the Cham were brought in and the main hall was full. At that time, under whose authority the pagoda was? Was it under Kuong or under Horn? It was under Kuong's. Questioned: and besides Kuong, do you recall names of other workers in the pagoda? Answer: no, I cannot, and it was him who was the deputy and in charge at the time. Questioned: here I don't refer to the people in charge, I refer to the subordinates who were working there. How many workers there when those people were being let out? Answer: there were about 10 workers working in the premises of the pagoda. Question: can you recall some of their names? Answer: yes, I do, but I do not know where they are living now. Question: if you can recall, please tell us some names. Answer: there were Moon, and other names that I cannot recall right now. Question: I want to clarify one thing from you. You said that your friend asked you for help. Did you make this statement when you responded to the question by the co-prosecutor? Answer: it was by chance when I heard that. That was when I was asked to bring the water, and at that time he was being tied up. Question: did your friend ask you for help, or did he just shout for help or did he see you and ask for help? Answer, he saw me and he knew me well. Question, what was his name? Answer, I cannot recall his name. Question, this is my last question on this topic. Can you tell us the ethnicity of your friend? Answer, he was Khmer. Thank you. I have another question for you. You heard about the plan to gather up the Cham people. Who actually spoke about this plan, or from whom did you hear that? Answer, I heard from those people who were working in the pagoda, but he was there quite a long time, and I asked him the question and he told me that. Question, and did the person give you the reason or the motive for the gathering of the Cham people? Answer, no. Question, this is my last question to you. When you brought them the water, can you tell us the time? Was it during the night time, the afternoon, or the morning time? Answer, it was around 7 o'clock. And question, was it 7 a.m.? Answer, no, it was 7 p.m. Counsel, thank you for answering my question, and Mr. President, I don't have any further questions for this witness. President, thank you. It is now appropriate for us to take a short break, and we return at 10 to 3. Court officer, please assist the witness during the break time and invite him back into the courtroom at 10 to 3. I noticed that the counsel is on her feet, that you may proceed.
Oui, Monsieur le Président, excusez-moi, mais en...
Yes, Mr. President, but in French I didn't hear the last answer from the witness. It was at 7 o'clock in the morning or in the evening, I don't know. I don't know if I'm the only one who didn't hear the answer, but a priori we did not get the answer in the French.
But, Mr. Witness, please repeat your last response. Did you see the detainees were being walked at 7 o'clock in the morning or in the evening? Answer, it was 7 o'clock in the evening. President, thank you. Let me take a recess now.
សូមអញ្ជើញក្រុមឈរ